What a concept. Bring the world's greatest racing drivers together, strap them into equally prepared machines, and let sport's fastest all-star game go green. Thus was born the International Race of Champions, one of the sporting world's most unique competitions, a high-octane way of laying claim to one of the most debated questions in motorsports. Who is the world's best driver? For 27 years, generations of racing's elite have answered the invitational call. And the roll call of champions contains this certainty: these are the greatest drivers. Tonight, Daytona International Speedway lights up the first race in the chase to become the IROC XXVIII champion. 12 drivers representing the wide spectrum of both stock car and open wheel disciplines are ready to draft on the Daytona high banks. Winners and champions all, now on equal footing. But this time around, there's much more than bragging rights on the line. New title sponsor Crown Royal has upped the ante. Win this 28th All-Star Points chase, and you'll go home with a cool $1 million. It's live on Speed next. Hello everyone, and welcome to Daytona International Speedway for round one of the Crown Royal International Race of Champions. Under cool, cloudy skies, 12 of the best drivers are set to go. In this format, 4 races, and the points champion receives a cool $1 million. There's a lot that's new about IROC this year, like its new television home, right here on Speed Channel. Its new title sponsor, Crown Royal, and a 4-fold increase in the purse to the winner, a cool $1 million. That's something all 12 of these drivers are aiming at, because the drop-off is very steep. The champion gets $1 million. Everybody else, positions 2 through 12, $80,000 apiece. Not chump change, but not $1 million either. The starting lineup was determined by a blind draw. In fact, media members determined the order in which the drivers would draw, and to no one's surprise Wednesday, the Rocket Man, NASCAR's Bud Pole champion, Ryan Newman, reached into that purple bag and pulled out the pole. Matt Yoakum is with Flying Ryan.
Mike, in 27 Crown Royal IROC seasons, 3 times the race has been held on Friday, February 13th. 3 times it marked the crowning of a first-time IROC winner. Ryan Newman trying to keep that good luck streak alive. Ryan, how difficult to keep this car in first with this new tire?
Well, we got a 1 in 12 shot at it. You know, everybody's got equal cars here. It's just a matter of being in the right place at the right time and making use of the air. And you're right, the tires are definitely softer than they used to be. So it's going to be you know, a different situation. But the track's pretty cool, so they're not going to use the tires up a whole lot.
18 times the pole sitter has gone on to win the race. Ryan's trying to make it number 19. Mike.
Thanks, Matt. I'm joined by Speed Channel and NASCAR on Fox analysts Larry McReynolds and Jeff Hammond. Now, Larry, you well know what it takes to make one car go fast here at Daytona. What about trying to make 12 cars all go equally fast?
I mean, it's a process that's done by 4 test drivers: Dick Trickle, Dave Marcus, Jim Sauter, and Jay Sauter. It's a process that takes days or even weeks. And the concept is to take 12 invited drivers that has won championships or major races, put them in these identically prepared cars. They get to practice them, but no adjustments. The only adjustments they can make is for their comfort, to the seat, to the pedals, to the steering. They go out and practice these cars, but no adjustments. There's no pit stops. Mike, as you said, their starting position involves no qualifying, and the concept I like, it's like the olden days. No radios, no spotters. It's strictly up to those drivers' skills.
Well, Jeff, if all a driver can bring is his helmet and his gloves, what else?
Well, what I think he's bringing right now, Mike, happens to be experience for one, talent, also heart. That's right, heart. He's got to have a love of the sport and a desire to beat the best of the best. And to be able to do that, you've got to also be able to adapt the conditions. I mean, the conditions, not only the track, but the cars, as well as your competitors. So you better choose your partners well if you want to win tonight.
Now, Now, the drivers aren't just thrown the keys and said, get on out there. They have the opportunity to test with the other invited drivers, with the 4 IROC test drivers. And this year there was one incident. It happened last Saturday to Elio Castroneves. He's in the black car, up and into the wall, doing heavy damage to the right front of that car and giving Elio a little bit of stretcher time. Matt?
Bad luck with the crash, but also bad luck with the draw. Elio starting 12th. Last year you had a plan. It didn't work. You've got a new plan this year. What is it?
Well, make sure they're going to stick up behind those guys and pedal to the metal, my friend. Pedal to the metal.
He's worked out a deal with his IRL buddies, but his friends, they start 6th and 10th. He has some work to do to get up to the front, Mike.
That's Jim Sauter looking in, one of the IROC test drivers. So they check out, make sure everybody is set to go. Points are awarded in this 4-race series. And here's how they stack up, including bonus points for leading laps and for leading at the end of the first 25-lap segment. Driver with the most points at the end of the season, $1 million from a total purse of nearly $1.9 million. So we're set to go with IROC 28, Crown Royal International Race of Champions, live from Daytona on Speed. Speed Channel's coverage of the Crown Royal IROC Series from Daytona International Speedway is presented by Crown Royal. Be a champion. Drink responsibly. Well, they drew for position. 9 of the 12 drivers were in attendance Wednesday. The 3 IRL drivers were testing in Phoenix. So the media member who pulled their name from the hat drew their position. Dave Kalman of the Milwaukee paper has to explain to Elio why he starts 12th. A couple of NASCAR guys out front, Ryan Newman and Jimmy Johnson. From the World of Outlaws, Danny Lasowski and Steve Kinzer will share row number 2. Nextel Cup's Matt Kenseth and IRL Scott Sharp in the 3rd row. The Craftsman Truck Series champ Travis Quaffle and the defending IROC champion Kurt Busch representing Nextel Cup Racing in row 4. Kevin Harvick from NASCAR and Scott Dixon from the Indy Racing League. In row 5, USAC's J.J. Yaley and Elio Castroneves from the IRL complete the field. And let's point out that the NASCAR Busch Series champion Brian Vickers receives an invitation, but because Brian has not reached majority age, he was obliged to decline it.
But what I see, you do the math. 6 NASCAR boys, 6 open wheel boys. But you will be a friend to who will be a friend to you.
And another change. Look at the roofs of these cars and their colors. They mirror the number and colors worn by these drivers in competition in their own series. So
I think that's, yes, that's just outstanding right there, because it's so easy to look down and see that number 12 and say, hey, I recognize that guy out there. That's Ryan Newman. On the 11 car, Steve Kinzer. It's a really neat concept right there to try to keep these guys connected to the series they represent.
And Mike, you've said it, and we can't stress it enough. $1 million to the championship of these 4 races. Pace cars off. Let the games begin.
Exactly right.
Green flag, and it is Newman jumping off from pole position. He got a little better launch than Jimmy Johnson. Here they go to turn 1.
Daniel Lasowski right now, he's trying to close up right there on Ryan Newman so he can kind of tuck in right behind him. Going to turn 1. Looks like he's going to be able to pull it off.
But I tell you, I've been watching these IROC cars practice. They'll run on the bottom. If they can get lined up, they'll run on the top side. But it looks like right now that bottom line is really getting lined up and making a move.
Thought for just a second it looked like Lasowski was going to try to make a move on the inside of Newman off of turn 2, but he decided to tuck her back inside.
Right now, it looks like the back 3 cars, they are somewhat losing the draft, but if these guys get to mixing it up, which trust me, they will, they'll be able to catch back up in a hurry.
Kenseth up against the back bumper of Lasowski. Kenseth 17. Double wide.
They have been warned all week long, especially in the driver's meeting. You see that yellow line right there. Do not go below that yellow line. It is out of bounds.
Danny Lasowski got squeezed like a hot dog out of a bun. There he goes right to the back of that lead draft. Stuck in the middle.
You're in the wrong place. You can go from first to last here in about a third of a lap.
Look at coming through the middle once again. Woo, 3 wide.
And you know, this racetrack is plenty wide enough for 3, even 4 cars, but these cars move around a lot. I talked to several of the drivers, and the wind is blowing so hard they move around a lot. That's where it gets in trouble.
Who was trying to move up through the middle? Kevin Hart.
Imagine that.
Big surprise.
Black and white car out there. It looks like he made it up to 4th place, so. Nose to tail through 3 and 4.
They will race 25 laps and then receive a competition yellow, realign the field, we'll describe that later, and then run 15 laps.
And the thing is, Mike, when you talk about that, it's important to try to be up there in the first 3 positions if you want to get some bonus points and kind of get the year started off right.
Top 4 right now, NASCAR, Ryan Newman, Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, and then in 5th right now is Steve Kinser. See how these cars move around? I mean, this racetrack is not smooth at all. A lot of bumps, and they just buff it around a lot with this aero package, especially, as I mentioned a while ago, the way this wind's blowing.
Now, as long as this front pack stays single file, catching them will be difficult.
Well, but Mike, the great equalizer is going to be that caution. It's going to allow these guys in the back to kind of close up. So if they want to take the first part of this race, kind of sort their cars out and get a feel for them, they're going to get an opportunity to get back up there with the big pack and get it on a little bit later on. So they can take a little bit of time here and kind of get acclimated.
Kenseth to the outside for the lead.
He was not credited with leading that lap. When they crossed the start-finish line, it was still Ryan Newman. But he definitely has help behind him.
Jimmy Johnson up on the high side to help Kenseth. Newman now has Kevin Harvick pulling right down on his back bumper.
Guys, look right down on the low side right there. Look at that number 11 car. If you recognize that green and white car, that's Steve Kinser. He's won here in IROC once before. He understands what this game's all about. He's in there with him.
This will be his 5th IROC event series.
Kurt Busch right in that pack. He's right behind Jimmy Johnson. With the big rear spoilers on these cars, you can really tuck your nose up and under. Ken's the same. Come on, let's go.
Stay in line.
Push me.
Lots of hand signals. Stay with me.
It's working. He is tucked in tight.
A 7-car lead draft. Now the back 5 have gone single file in an attempt to close up.
And that's the only way they will close up, is they're in single file. They start racing each other, it's not going to do them any good right now.
Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson trying to slip away.
And Larry, they're listening to you. Everybody says, hey, just get in line. Everybody's doing a lot of hand signals. We got to catch them.
But right now, the front 7, they've got in single file. So everybody's in single file, but not for long.
Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman, Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch, Travis Kvapil, Steve Kinser. We'll be right back. The season opener for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, live on Speed, 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
The boys are back in town.
Moments ago, Steve Kinser got it up on the cushion and pushed Jimmy Johnson past Matt Kenseth and into the lead. Travis Kvapil to follow. Here's how it happened.
It looked like a choo-choo train coming down through there.
And Matt Kenseth sitting down there all by himself, a sitting duck.
Are those bumpers or couplers between those cars?
And they're still getting it on down through here. 3 wide.
And the lead pack, no longer 7, now it's 10.
Yeah, probably the only hope Daniel Lasowski and J.J. Yeley have is that lap 25 break. 2 cars will not catch that pack, even if they're lined up.
Even if they're 3 wide?
Probably not. Because they won't stay 3 wide for long. They'll probably be 4 wide here in a second.
Somebody needs to tell these guys that right quick because they're getting ready to do it.
Kinser is locked on to the back bumper of Jimmy Johnson, and until he gets pressure from the outside, why not?
I guarantee you, we were talking a little bit about it earlier. Choose your partners well, baby. And it looks like right now Jimmy Johnson and Steve Kinser are really getting it on.
We'd love to show you more onboard pictures, but it's a very low, cloudy day here in Daytona. There were a bit of sprinkles, and so the chopper's not able to get up there. Look at that 3 wide for 8th place.
Yeah, Kinser in the middle. I mean, not Kinser, Harvick in the middle in that black and white car.
That's formation flying right there. Castroneva's on the inside. And Travis Kvapil up top.
I tell you, we can't stress it enough. I'm just so impressed with Steve Kinser in that 11 car, the green car. I mean, he has been right up there, been amongst these boys since the drop of the green flag.
Yes, he had. But look at guys like Scott Sharp right now and Dixon. All these guys are coming back, and just realize they just got out of open wheel car just yesterday testing out there in Phoenix. So, I mean, they have to adapt on the fly. They didn't get a chance to kind of run these cars and say, okay, I got the feel now. I think it's a great deal. I think Matt Yoakum knows some more about that. Matt?
Jeff, I had a long conversation earlier today with both Steve Kinzer and Daniel Lasowski. They felt like the new tire gave the cars a little bit more of a freer feel, not as tight as they were in the past. And, you know, the dude and Kinzer spent half their time sideways. They felt like that would be more of an advantage because they're used to that freer feel.
Kevin Harvick opened up a lane on the bottom, drove past 3 cars, trying to get himself back into position to challenge. Those front 4, now front 5, including Harvick, nose to tail. Dixon the 1, Castroneves 0-3, Travis Quaffle 24.
And Mike, don't look now, but because these guys dicing it up, all of a sudden Daniel Lasowski and J.J. Yeley have gotten back in that desired draft and starting to close back up on that main pack.
And I didn't think they could do it, just 2 of them, but they've done a good job of staying lined up. Let those guys slice and dice, and they, as you say, they've worked themselves within about 2.5 seconds of that lead pack.
Bonus points for leading laps. Jimmy Johnson still out front, trying to hold now Kurt Busch as Kinzer has slipped to 3rd. Scott Sharp is 4th, Harvick 5th, Newman 6th.
Guys, you know, oh man, what about a move?
That was Kinzer putting a little muscle there to the inside.
Little muscle and a little block, I think it was.
Not a little, buddy. It was a big block right about then. I was getting ready to say, watching this series right now and thinking about everybody usually gets an opportunity to go to different go-kart tracks around the country and take their buddies, and y'all go run on basically identically prepared go-karts. This is what this is to me. It's like a bunch of kids getting a chance to get together and play in identically prepared cars or karts and have fun.
That car that Kinzer muscled was Scott Sharp, and it cost Scott 2 positions. There he is, now in 5th.
And don't look, the Dirty Dozen right now is back together again.
Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch, and Steve Kinzer lead the Crown Royal IROC Series. Trackside begins its season live from Daytona tonight, 7 p.m. alongside Daytona, USA. From the new Big Gladiator Garage Works stage, 7 o'clock. Well, things are changing fast here in IROC 28. Scott Sharp had followed Kevin Harvick up through, but then found himself kicked back in 1 lap all the way to 7th. Well, make that 8th place, matching his car number. Harvick the leader, Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth, Ryan Newman.
Just a few seconds ago, they were 2 by 2 for the entire 6 rows. They looked just like they started the race 15 laps ago, just everybody in a different position. Now remember, in 10 laps, we'll have a competition caution. It's just to realign the field. The pits will be closed. No tire changing. They don't need fuel. They have 35-gallon fuel cells. Don't need that. Now, that right there, he's below the out of bounds. As long as he did not improve his position, he will be okay.
So Castroneves comes back up into fair territory. And he might have had a little help getting down there. As everybody jockeys, there are bonus points when that yellow waves at lap 25 for position as well.
I'll tell you right now, Steve Kinzer is definitely not afraid to put a little bit of a bumper on him.
No, he is not.
Matt Yoakum.
New colors this year and a huge, huge winner's payday at the end of 4 races. And Rob Warren, what an exciting series for your company to get involved with.
Oh, absolutely, Matt. We're so excited to be connected with the IROC Series and Crown Royal. 2 champions getting together, 12 champions on the road course. Just terrific for us. Very excited.
And you're watching on the big screen, 3 and 4 wide. How exciting is this for you?
Oh, man, as they're maneuvering, trying to get up there, it's been terrific. I mean, and with the restart at 25 to get everybody back together again, it's really anybody's race. Really tremendous. Very exciting.
Thanks, Rob.
17 complete this time by 8 to the competition caution, and Kurt Busch is going to lead them across, followed by his Roush Racing stablemate Matt Kenseth, Travis Quaffle from the Craftsman Truck Series, Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman, Scott Sharp, the top half dozen.
And I talked about this in the opening. The thing that amazes me is these guys have done all of this jockeying for 17 laps. Remember, no spotters, no radios. The only aid they have is mirrors in the car.
They're doing what they do best, aren't they? Driving.
For the lead, Kenseth back to the point. I think that outside lane through the corners works a little better. That's what Matt Kenseth thought, and he's got some help. Travis Quaffle pushing into the front.
But Matt Kenseth, inside, though, right there, got guys going back around there also. So it's working high and low.
Matt Kenseth has almost driven this entire race with one hand on the steering wheel because the right hand has been up. Stay in line. Push me. Come on.
Well, how about your boy Travis Quaffle? I tell you, he's making him pretty proud of everybody.
He's a rookie in the IROC series, but he's doing good right now. But we have a long way to go.
Quaffle to second, and all 12 cars now single file, now in one draft again. Little break after the 7th place car, but not much.
You know, a lot of these guys have been basically kind of feeling their cars out, so it's going to be real interesting when we restart this thing after the competition yellow, exactly what does take place.
Look at that move right there. Jimmy Johnson to the outside. Getting a push from Ryan Newman. We're on board with Ryan Newman right now. These cars have one single roof flap on them, and as the air changes behind the car, once in a while you'll see that roof flap just kind of wink at you. You can see it, especially do it on the lead car.
You're going to say, and it definitely is not hurting that race car as far as its speed's concerned.
Quaffle dives to the bottom, moves from 7th to 6th. As Johnson leads from Newman, Sharp, Kinzer, and Harvick. Still very much anybody's race. When they come back, it'll be 5 to go to the caution as we complete 20 laps with Jimmy Johnson in front. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. Round 1 of the Crown Royal IROC Series. Ryan Newman and Kevin Harvick have just teamed up to draft to the front around the outside.
Jimmy Johnson tried to put a block on them, but they were coming too fast to block them.
22 down. 18 to go. Let's give you some sounds of speed from IROC at Daytona.
About what 7,000 horsepower sounds like bunched all together.
Jimmy Johnson back on point, and that has kicked Ryan Newman back to 6th. From 1st to 6th in one lap, Jeff.
I'm telling you right now, it just doesn't take long. You can see why these guys here are the best of the best. And believe it or not, Mike, we've got about 4 rookies, if you want to call these guys rookies, in this race for the first time. Defending Cup champion Matt Kenseth, Travis Quaffle, as well as Scott Dixon and J.J. Yaley have never run in the IROC series before, but I'm telling you right now, they're doing the folks at Crown Royal and their divisions very proud.
Well, this next lap and a quarter, it's going to be exciting because remember, we get that break at lap 25, which is about a lap and a quarter away. And remember, bonus points awarded to the top 3 drivers in that 25 laps. So they're going to get dicey here this last lap as they'll come to 1 to go to lap 25.
Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Scott Sharp, Travis Quaffle. They've got about 4 car lengths on 4 cars under a blanket here, including Newman and Busch, Kenseth.
There they go, though, Mike. That outside line starting to move, just like you mentioned a while ago.
Jimmy Johnson was a sitting duck on the bottom. Lining up on the outside, looking for bonus points and pride. One move on the bottom. Is that Kinzer?
Trying to work his way back up through there.
Now Harvick's going to stay on the high side because that's the fast lane.
But here comes Travis Quaffle with his little group on the bottom.
Yeah, nobody told him that. Coming to lap 25. Here's where the bonus points are paid. Kevin Harvick makes his IROC wide. Quaffle is second. Kurt Busch is third. They will get the bonus points.
Scott Sharp came by in 4th, Matt Kenseth 5th, Steve Kinzer in 6th, Jimmy Johnson 7th, Scott Dixon in 8th, Danny Laskowski in 9th, J.J. Yaley in 10th, Ryan Newman in 11th, and Elio Castroneves in 12th.
Now what what happens is interesting. No pit stops. They will line them back up. The leader will be alone in the front row. The second place driver, Quaffle, gets his choice of the inside or the outside lane. The next driver, Kurt Busch, gets his choice of lining up alongside Quaffle or behind him. The next driver can go behind Quaffle or go all the way up to row 2, and so on and so on. The drivers will figure out their own starting positions and choose as we go back in the running order.
What I've seen so far, if Travis does not pick that outside line, I will discuss that with him a little bit later on the season.
For sure, for sure.
That's no short track style, I think, of restarts, isn't it, Mike?
Pick your lane and let's go.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of glad we're going to get a chance to catch our breath.
Crown Royal IROC Series from Daytona is presented by Crown Royal. Be a champion. Drink responsibly. Welcome back to Daytona. Nice crowd on hand for the International Race of Champions and the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series tonight on Speed. Mike Joy with Larry McReynolds, Jeff Hammond, and Matt Yoakum on pit road as they begin to line back up. Harvick by himself in the front row. That's how they'll restart. Quaffle decided to line up behind Harvick, and so on back. Matt?
Ryan Newman keyed his mic and talked to IROC President Jay Signori. Said, can we come down pit road now and get fresh tires? Jay said, no. If you would like to come down when we drop the green flag, you're more than welcome. Newman knows that if he does that, the race is over. Just like everybody else, they've got to use what they have.
Yeah, if you pit under green for tires, it's basically what you lose on the racetrack. If you pit under yellow for tires, it's a one-lap penalty, so don't want to do that.
This series dates to 1975 when they ran Porsches on road courses, 4 of them throughout the United States. Bobby Allison, one of the invitees, had never driven a rear engine or air-cooled car, so he bought one so he could get used to the shifting linkage and the vehicle dynamics. All the drivers involved from disciplines around the world took this series very seriously and do to this day.
Sure enough. And the thing is, right now, it's kind of interesting about this series. When you look back, like in 1985, Harry Gant and Darrell Waltrip actually tied, and the tiebreaker was the fact that Harry won the last race. It cost Darrell an opportunity to win the championship. In 1999, the title was decided by 1 point between Dale Earnhardt and Mark Martin. So these bonus points could be huge as far as how these guys finish in these segments, as well as, you know, each race.
There were no surprises in the re-lineup. After Harvick, they just lined up like little ducks in a row. Inside, outside, inside, outside. Nobody gambled and went the other way.
Well, Larry's done said he's going to have a talk with his driver under. He thinks he needs to be on the outside.
Well, I'll let you know after they get to turn 1. You know, Scott Sharp was the only non-NASCAR driver to finish in the top 5. And in all the Daytona IROC events, only 5 non-NASCAR drivers have ever won an IROC race.
When I look at this start, guys.
Right, Harvick alone. That's the way it should be.
Right.
Green flag.
Harvick taking up both lanes.
Now we got a 15-lap shootout. Here we go. Right now, Harvick goes to the bottom of the racetrack with that inside line. Remember, we've been seeing that outside line get a pretty good run, though.
Once they get to speed. And they probably won't be in turns 1 and 2 on this first lap.
It almost takes a whole lap to get up to speed.
They're coming off of turn 2 right now. And it looks to me like it could be, maybe it was Jimmy Johnson back there, but he got him a good run off of turn 2 right there on the outside.
Quaffle and Johnson lined up there behind Kurt Busch on the high side, or rather Quaffle on the bottom. Kenseth is up there with Kurt Busch.
Scott Sharp in the 8 car pulls up behind Quaffle. Then Steve Kinzer in the 11 car, the green car, pulls up behind him. Right now they look just like the start of the race, 2 by 2 almost all the way through.
Again, we apologize for the lack of onboard views. They're great when they work, and with this low cloud cover, we're unable to give you those pictures. 2 by 2. Now we'll see which lane is quickest.
Yeah, because those guys up at the top, and you can see these cars really wiggling around. See Kurt Busch up there in the 97 car, Matt Kenseth tucked up behind him. Remember, these tires are getting old. These cars are starting to go, the handling's going away, a little bit loose when someone tucked up behind you.
And what did we talk about early in the broadcast? We're going to find out who can adapt to the conditions out there right now as far as the tire wear is concerned and what's going on with the rest of your competition.
Kurt Busch's car just doesn't look good on entry to the corner, either end of the speedway.
And I think because of that, right now, that inside line is prevailing.
Quaffle, Sharp, Johnson, Kinzer on the inside with Lasowski and Castroneves.
Right now, I think Kurt Busch is holding the outside line up. I know there's not but about 4 or 5 cars up there, but they're just not going. But there's nothing he can do. There's nowhere to go.
All he can do is just kind of like hang on.
Talked about it earlier. You see these cars just really moving around, really bouncing around. They move around a lot when there's no wind at all.
Now, can everybody get away from Kurt Busch if indeed he's holding them up? Not Matt Kenseth. He's going to try to help him around here and help him maintain speed, but it's going to cost him.
He's losing ground right there off that corner. I'm sure right now if Matt Kenseth could, he would drop to the inside and do the best he could to try to get hooked up with this front pack.
Look like Kurt Busch has an opportunity if he wants to quickly to move to the inside, but that gap's going to close in a hurry.
Daniel Lasowski right there, he closed the door real quick right there to get back up on Steve Kinser's back bumper as they go off into turn 1.
And here comes Kenseth, way up, rim riding on the outside, alongside Busch, who has a draft from Scott Sharp.
Looks like Kenseth is going to get some help too up there on the outside.
J.J. Yaley trying to help Kenseth.
Kurt Busch in the 97 car looked like he wanted to go to the low side. Then he moved all the way up to the high side. Now he's back where he was with his teammate in NASCAR, Matt Kenseth, back behind him.
I thought Lasowski was going to take them 4 wide from the bottom. Thought about it, thought better of it.
3 wide off of turn 4 though. 3 wide, 2 deep.
Yeah, 3 by 3 by 3.
Now that may allow the front 3 cars to get away. Harvick, Quaffle, and Jimmy Johnson.
There it is, 4 wide right there, going off into turn 1. That won't work, boys. You got to at least get the 3 wide.
Well, I would have voted Danny as the most likely to try it, and he was. The dude. All caught back up now, single file for the most part. Quaffle behind Harvick and Steve Kinser.
Challenging him for second. Looky there.
He went to third. He's not happy with that, though. He's going on moving the second round. Travis Quaffle in the 24 car.
He said, hey, rookie, get out of my way. I'm coming to the front.
I've been here for a while.
The king of the outlaws. Kinser, who had a brief fling at Winston Cup style racing. Quaffle tried the bottom. Kinser muscled him down to the yellow line, and Travis had to lift. Now that may cost Travis not just position. He had to lift. He's going to lose 3-4 positions before turn 1.
If you have to lift here, it's all about wide open throttle. You have to lift. It takes a while to recover. 10 to go this time.
But in Travis's defense, discretion was a better part of valor. If he hadn't, he probably would have got into Kinser.
He's going to go from 3rd to about 9th, though.
He'll be back.
And the mix-up continues. Kinser continues to run hard on the bottom. That's Matt Kenseth. Along up top. The blue car just ahead. And Mr. Double Wide, Kevin Harvick, out front.
And Harvick's got to choose which line he wants to try to pull along here. Now he's working back to the inside.
And he chooses both. Looks just like the restart. Harvick and then everybody else 2 by 2 behind. Steve Kinser in 2nd. Kurt Busch is 3rd. Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, Helio Castroneves the first 6 in the Crown Royal IROC at Daytona. Tomorrow, Nextel Cup practice at 9 a.m. live and final practice at 10:30 right here on Speed. Helio Castroneves penalized to the back for passing below the yellow line. Kevin Harvick tried to protect the middle, and they just swarmed around both sides.
But I'm going to tell you, with 6 to go, Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth, without a lot of help from behind, they've got that outside line moving. They want to get up there, and they want to battle Steve Kinser for the lead.
Harvick finally found a spot in line in 8th place. You have no friends here.
Have no friends here. And this kind of clear up that deal for Castroneves. He was told to go to the back of the pack for his penalty. He didn't have to come to pit road because this is not run exactly under NASCAR type rules. So he went to the back of the pack, and he's got to start all over again. And unfortunately, he'd made his way up to 3rd place.
Here's what happened. Watch Castroneves, bottom left of your screen. He's going to make the move here on Lasowski, who gives him a little bit of an edge down. Because he advanced his position, he received the penalty.
And these guys are told, treat that yellow line like there's an imaginary wall there. You can't go below there and make a pass.
King Kinzer, 18 World of Outlaw Championships. He's on the inside, trying to hold back.
Oh, we got contact right there off of turn 2.
Boy, that was a huge save.
But the loss of momentum will shake up the field.
4 wide as we go off down there turn 3.
And it's Kurt Busch and Jimmy Johnson who emerge out front. Ryan Newman underneath Kenseth and Quaffle.
Now I'm gonna have to see what they do on Ryan Newman. He was way below that yellow line back on the backstretch, but here they come. Be 4 to go this time. They're 3 wide all the way back through there.
If they could be 12 wide, they would be.
And just remember, 4 races, guy, $1 million to win this thing. That's the reason they're racing like they are.
It's a good thing you and I never raced for $1 million, Larry.
I mean, last year, Kurt Busch won the championship $250,000. Huge difference.
Big difference.
And we're hearing that Ryan Newman will have to drop to the back of the field just like Castroneves. He did go below the out-of-bounds line on the backstretch that last lap. That will be huge here with about 3.5 laps to go.
First, he's going to have to get out of line with that number 12.
Can't
He's
get
third
back
on the
there.
inside. And now we're told no penalty on Newman. That he was
Upon
avoiding
further
another
review.
car.
Yep.
No penalty.
3 laps to go this time. Look at them, 2 by 2 all the way back through.
Looks like the start. Kurt Busch, the defending IROC champion. Jimmy Johnson behind him. Matt Kenseth leading the outside lane. Ryan Newman inside. Harvick is back toward the front. How did he get there? He's outside right behind Kenseth.
The thing I find interesting is Kurt Busch worked the high side since the restart here after the caution. But all of a sudden, when he took the lead, what did he do? He dove to the bottom, got to the inside. Now he's trying to protect that bottom lane as much as he can.
There goes Castroneves up on the high side trying to get a little bit of help.
And he's got J.J. Yaley with him, but he's way up there.
And they have Matt Kenseth caught in the middle. He don't have a lot of help. Here comes some now. It'll be 2 to go this time. And I think these boys know there's just 2 to go.
Steve Kinzer in and amongst 4 NASCAR drivers in that 5-car lead draft.
It's one thing about it, guys. If you get caught in the middle, you're going to go probably the back of the pack. That's what happened to Kevin Harvick.
Now the top 5, they're single file right now. I bet it won't stay that way long, and it's about 5 or 6 car lengths back to the next group. Zigging and zagging down the backstretch. Kurt Busch making that car about 5 car lengths wide right now.
And everybody going, help me, help me. After me, after me.
I mean, Kurt Busch, he really has no choice. He has to run the bottom just like he's doing right now. Protect the bottom. That don't mean he'll protect the lead, but he has to protect the bottom.
Behind him, Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman, Steve Kinzer, Matt Kenseth. And a little gap now after the 4th place car of Kinzer. White flag, 1 to go.
The guys will say it right quick. They don't have spotters. They got to do it on their own.
Hang on, here it goes. Again, Kurt Busch, 97 car. He has to run the bottom, just what he's doing. He don't want to get too much of a lead. They'll get a run on him.
Kenseth's going to have help from Castroneves, but can he catch that front 4?
And what's these guys going to do when everybody splits up down the back straightaway and they get ready to make the run?
There it is. Way down to the inside. There's the move. Kurt Busch with Ryan Newman on the outside. Jimmy Johnson and Steve Kinzer. But it's 4 on 2.
Here comes Matt Kenseth in the 17 car. He's pushing that NASCAR group on the bottom. And Castroneves right in there behind him. Here they come, boys. Checkered flag.
They fan out with Busch
Oh,
trying to
pushing
block to
him
the
up.
bottom. Pushes that car down to the inside of the racetrack, but Newman squeezes through. And
Whoa, we got trouble.
It's never over till it's over. Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car sideways after they cross the start-finish line.
Hang on to her, Jimmy.
he got turned around and goes for a 150-mile-an-hour slide through the grass after the checkered flag. Johnson is listed as 4th and Kinzer 5th. Castroneves 6th, Harvick 7th, Scott Dixon 8th, Travis Quaffle, J.J. Yaley, and Danny Lasowski. Scott Sharp there in 9th. Newman from last place on lap 29 to 1st at the checkered flag. And let's review the finish because there was a lot of jostling off turn 4. Busch trying to take Newman down to the inside.
He went below that yellow line, guys, so that's going to be interesting to see what kind of call comes from folks at IROC.
And there is Johnson getting turned around by Kinzer.
By Kinzer. Kinzer gets into the outside wall. This is all after the start-finish line. I would say they're definitely going to review the Ryan Newman move there.
But you talk about some great driving and great racing, guys, and that was exciting.
Now let's show you again. Now Kinzer, he's getting moved around by Kevin Harvick there as well as they come to the line. Just a slight contact between he and Jimmy Johnson.
I mean, right in the front of three cars, how he didn't get hit.
There's 12 champions because everybody got through.
Exactly right.
The question will be here, who goes to victory lane? Will Newman's pass on Kurt Busch be judged legal because he was forced below? And Jimmy Johnson fourth at the flag, Kinzer fifth, but Johnson makes a backwards turn up pit road to come toward the garage. 3 drivers will go to the podium in victory lane, and we'll be there when we come back. You're watching the Crown Royal IROC Series on Speed. Ryan Newman, the National Motorsports Press Association Driver of the Year and the Speed Channel American Driver of the Year with 11 Winston Cup poles and 8 wins, sits in his car in victory lane while Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth talk about what happened on that final lap. Let's show it.
And Mike, one thing, did you see the big smiles on both those drivers' faces?
Look at Matt Kenseth. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, boys.
It's going to be a tough call, clearly, as you see Johnson going around here. Clearly, Ryan Newman didn't just drive down below the line. Kurt Busch edged him down there, but Newman never lifted and continued on to be first at the flag, followed by Busch, Kenseth, Johnson, and Kinzer. Castor Neves 6th, Harvick 7th, Dixon 8th, Scott Sharp 9th, and Travis Quavel 10th. There's Steve Kinzer in the conversation.
He worked hard.
The winner is Ryan Newman. Getting the word from Les Richter, one of the IROC officials. And here's Matt.
It's official. For the first time in his career, Ryan Newman wins a Crown Royal IROC race. First off, 11 laps to go, you were last. Talk about your move to the front.
Just being at the right place. I just pretty much took the idea of lining up behind the row that had the most cars because it seemed like it went the best. And man, I don't know why there wasn't a big mess out there. Got to thank Crown Royal first of all for coming up to support the series. It's great to have competitors that are champions, and just a great victory for me to be in Gatorade victory lane.
And a very, very nice pass on Kurt Busch. Size up that move.
Well, I think I would listen to what Kurt just said. I think it's about like that. I could have leaned into him and spun him coming to the line, which wasn't the way to win, because he was blocking me down, and he knows he was blocking me down. But it was just a great race. Got to thank Jason Nori and all the people from IROC and Crown Royal, and we'll go from there. It's good to be in victory lane at Daytona.
Seems like some guys were working better up high, some were down low.
And my car was really good behind the 48 car. It seems like we could just run away, and he had a really strong car too. Just a matter of who you got in line with and who was on your side at the time.
All about timing. For the first time in his career, Ryan Newman wins a Crown Royal IROC race.
We can only guess, but it appears the fact that Newman had overlap on Kurt Busch, fender to fender, before being pushed below the line would have factored into the decision, and Ryan Newman is the winner. Speed Channel's coverage of Crown Royal IROC Series from Daytona is presented by Crown Royal. Be a champion. Drink responsibly. Ryan Newman beats Kurt Busch by 35 one-thousandths of a second. Here's Matt Yoakum with the runner-up.
It doesn't get much closer to that. The reigning champion, Kurt Busch. Let's talk about that last lap.
I was in that position from when Kinzer got sideways, and just with my teammate from the Nextel Cup, Matt Kenseth, pushing me. That's a great camaraderie that the two of us have, and just working together. And on that last lap, I was in the middle of the racetrack, and I went to go down to the yellow line, and I left just enough room, I guess, where I thought I left no room underneath the yellow line. But, you know, the way it went was I think I'm as much fault as he's at fault for the yellow line deal, and that's what makes it tough at Daytona. Jimmy Johnson had me sideways down the back straightaway, so I'm happy to be in position. We led some laps. I got 1 point bonus for finishing third at the halfway break, so we should equal out at points, and I think that's the biggest thing, because now both of us are going to be starting the last row at Texas, so hopefully it'll all pan out. But I'm a bit upset with myself, and maybe the call that was made, but it's more myself because I left that door open. I didn't realize how big of a run he had.
He's eyeing those points, eyeing that $1 million champion's payday at season's end. Mike?
The first 4 drivers finished within 1/10 of a second. The first 7 drivers finished within 1/4 of a second. How competitive can you get?
I think at the tip of the hat to Jace ignoring that group, I would say these cars were prepared pretty equal, but you know what? Kurt Busch talked about it. When we get to Texas, Friday, April the 2nd, they'll start in reverse order how they finish this race.
We thought it was exciting here at Daytona, but wait till we get to Texas, because I'm telling you right now, these guys right here, they'll have a better feel for these cars, and they'll be ready to go when we get there.
So here are the point standings after round 1. Ryan Newman, the point leader. Kurt Busch just 1 point back. Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick tied there for 4th. Steve Kinser in 6th. And they'll reverse them up as they go to Texas Friday, April 2nd. And we'll be there for you on Speed Channel as Crown Royal IROC 28 is off to a great start here in Daytona. For Matt Yoakum, Jeff Hammond, Larry McReynolds, I'm Mike Joy, congratulating Ryan Newman on his Crown Royal IROC win in Daytona. So long, folks. We'll see you in Texas.